Welcome to another podcast of IIA Commune, which is a platform where we talk to the experienced architects as young architects, and we want your experience and your hard work journey, and so that we can learn from it. So I have a few questions to ask. The first one is, when did you start your practice, and how has your journey been so far? A little glimpse of those hard times.
I started a long time ago, so 1992. So there's been a very long and winding journey. The first part was based in New York City, where I had sort of a background in doing a lot of projects for collectors and artists and galleries. So I did mostly residential work around New York City.
Yeah. And how's it been like? How do you define your journey? A word or a few words, probably.
I think my journey has been like a miracle. I mean, not I'm saying just in terms of how things have happened to me, for me. I could never have imagined that I'll be doing projects in India, in Mongolia, in Africa, in Europe, all over.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. I feel very fortunate.
And we are really inspired by you every day. So I feel as you're working all around the world, there must be a lot of challenges that you face while working with the team, with the staff, the management, how to deal with everything, how to plan everything. So what is that one thing that you want to share with the young architects to not lose their patience?
Oh God. You need patience.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing is just to be flexible and actually to deal with things as they arise. I mean, people in the United States especially, they're like, how are you doing this? Where's the money coming from? Where's this? And I'm like, I'm just doing it one step at a time. We'll see. I mean, I've had my business for so long that I'm aware that, even the most promising project that will come in with a client that's fully funded, all these things, that could disappear in a month. You just, you have no idea. I mean, there's life, there's illnesses, there's all kinds of things. So there's definitely, with these projects, a whole nother level of kind of unpredictability. There's permits to be gained, but to me, at this stage of my life, to actually be able to delve in and solve these problems and puzzles, this is so much fun. To go to these countries, meet amazing people, and kind of just really observe.
Right. Learn their culture also.
Yeah.
But I feel you have to practice detachment also with the projects, as there's an emotional value. If the project doesn't work out, I feel you have to have that detachment as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, the project that I did here in India, I was very, very emotionally involved.
Right.
And it's on hold now, and now it's
yeah.
It's like my baby was lost.
Exactly.
Just because it's, it's gender equality, it's women and girls, it's things that I hold very dear. So,
Right.
but it's like everything, and actually in India they do it. Detachment so much better than we do in the United States. We, throw a fit if something's canceled or whatever, and you generally just roll with it, and something else happens. So it is hard, because actually having run a large firm, I take that back. It was large for me. I had 35 people, and that's just trying to make payroll and rent, and it's
Right.
I will never do that again.
Right.
Just because it takes everything you love about architecture completely out, and you have to hit a certain dollar value, so you have to take any project. So,
Yeah, but what was that moment when you realized that this is taking a toll on everything and you just want to do actual work, actual designing, and not just get into this whirlwind of payrolls and
yeah, it's
rent?
really kind of about 8 years ago when I started this project. I actually had in New York City. I mean, people are like, "Isn't India hard to work in?" I mean,
Right.
I think it's a toss-up. I mean, New York City is not easy at all to work in. I mean, there's so many bureaucracies, there's transportation issues, there's there's so many rules and regulations. So India has its own, roadblocks and difficulties, but they're all the same, just different forms. And that's one thing that you really have to get used to, because it's
Ease of work is different here
Yeah.
than in New York, I feel.
pace.
The ease of work
ease
in
of
India
work.
is different from
Yeah.
New York, I feel.
Yeah,
Even the local people, how are they? Like, do they come forward to help you in India?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. I often say that India has like two speeds. It's like, the snail's pace,
Right.
and then it's like, they've done it the next day. And
That is so true. Yes.
it's just, that's hard to get used to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think for me, and I hope to forever be able to do this kind of work in all these different countries. It's so, it's just so rewarding, enriching, and I think, this is where architecture should be going. We should be on a global level collaborating.
Right.
This notion of the West is best or whatever nonsense that drove me crazy, because I actually had Western engineers reviewing the drawings, and when we came here, or when I showed them to the engineers here, they were just like, no way.
Yeah.
So
So, as we are speaking of women, as a woman, what is that one advice that you would like to give all the young architects, especially the women of the country?
that's a tough one. I mean, I think that the best thing you can do is actually to recognize that men and women work differently,
Right.
and to not fight against something, and to actually work with
Right.
these gender differences. Of course, that's a broad basis, but I mean, I find women work incredibly well collaboratively. I think we're sort of genetically prone to be that way. We're genetically, and we're socialized
Also multitask, I feel,
and multitask.
at the same level.
Yeah.
So, there are a lot of young architects that wanted to ask you, if they start a business or a firm, do they have to have their own typology from the start, or they can just, dwell
and
into
they're
it?
not going to be able to. I mean, unless you're extremely lucky. But I mean, when you start, someone told me you have to take every project.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
that doesn't always mean. I mean, you always try to bring something important. There has to be something that's important about
Right.
the project to you. And you have to bring that and that piece of yourself and that piece of your heart to it. And hopefully that can, be a predominant element. And it doesn't always have to. I mean, you have to take projects for money. That's just,
Like, stop nowhere.
there's, there's no other option. I remember hearing a lecture by Frank Gehry early on, and he said, he actually his career actually didn't really take off until late.
Okay.
And what he did, and still, before he started doing his more creative projects, he had a whole aspect of his firm that was devoted to doing like factory and institutional buildings that actually had like no design.
Okay.
And you know, you kind of need to do things like that a little bit to, I mean, ebb and flow of running your own business is definitely challenging, and you know, you get used to the fact that it's terrifying, and you understand that, you know, you can't plan for 3 years, you can plan for 3 months, and
Right.
it's also, I mean, I am too empathetic, and I also took on too much of the people working for me, their lives, and you know, I was like, I can't, they have to pay their mortgage, and I
Exactly.
can't let them down.
Yes.
And you know, that's not, I mean, ideally you could have somebody who's more the creative partner and someone who really likes the business side and developing new projects.
Like you can divide roles.
Yeah,
Probably.
that's perfect,
Yeah.
but very hard to find.
That's so true. Ending on this note, ma'am, I would like to ask you one last question. What is that one thing in the field that has always kept you going? Like, this is that thing.
Huh. Well, I mean, I actually always say, I've always thought and I've always said that, like, you do not choose architecture. Architecture chooses you. And for better or worse, that's what you are.
That is wonderful.
And, you know, it's the lens that I see the world. There's no doubt about it, from a very early age. And it's the lens that I use to sort of organize and understand things just from a spatial point of view. And I think that's part of all architects. And you know, I just think that it's, you know, it's something that's very hard to avoid.
True.
if it's really what, you know, you see as your passion.
You have to be passionate and dying for it, like no matter what. This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can have your moments of full happiness.
Almost every day I feel for a young architect. I'm sure they'll agree.
I'm looking
But-
at the flowers around here. I always thought, like, wouldn't it be great just to have a floral shop?
Yes.
Like, everyone's always happy when you bring them flowers.
Like a coffee shop with a floral display, and
it's
it sells
architectural to make them,
right.
but
All the young architects can have a side business, and that can pay you every month also, so you won't worry about the payroll.
well,
Yeah, and it's sustainable, so why not? Like
Yeah.
you're giving happiness around the world. Ma'am, it was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
And you have inspired us since
Thank you.
forever, and we are very grateful for you
Thank
being
you.
here. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Just add one line after this. Follow her work. Is there any Instagram page that you have?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Okay.
I follow it.
Okay, great. So then follow that particular page.
Okay.
Yeah. Say thank you again, and then finish off with this.
Taken. Thank you so much, ma'am. This is Diana Kellogg, the architect, the principal architect, the founder from Diana Kellogg Architects, and you can follow her Instagram page, I guess.
It's at Diana Kellogg Architects.
Yes, and the website as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just go and look out. And this is architect Ashita Pathak and young architect trying to find answers. And yes, this was the IIA Commune podcast, and thank you for joining.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
ma'am.